Hello, and welcome to When They Popped. I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Mary.
Mary, we have a very exciting episode today. We are having a listening party to the one and only Ashley Parker Angel's one and only solo album, Soundtrack to Your Life. Was this album or was it not the soundtrack to your life when it came out?
Oh my gosh, it was. Ashley was like my OG crush from O-Town, and I was prepared to follow him to the ends of the earth. No, but honestly, I was just happy to get more like boy band adjacent music at this time. Like boy bands were kind of on the way out in, the mid 2000s. And like we got Nick Carter's Now or Never and Justin Timberlake's Justified in 2002, both of them. And then we got Ashley Parker Angel's solo album in 2006. Like, this was just my oasis in a drought. I was so excited for it and was just thrilled. There were like at least 5 songs on this album and I was willing to go to bat for. Like, this was a solid album.
Oh my gosh. Like when I was re-listening to this album, I was like, holy shit. I still remember the words to like the first like 6 songs. And I remember watching his reality show, which we'll talk a little bit more about it in a bit, and being like, oh my God, his hair, it's so long. He wears beanies now. He seemed just like so grown up from the last time I saw him in O-Town and on Making the Band.
And he had a lot of like grown up things going on in his life, which probably added to that kind of, he's such an adult aura that he had going on. But I'm so glad you brought up his hair during this era, like his long blonde kind of shaggy, like bangs over the eyes almost look. Like this was a hot boy look.
Oh my God. The record album art. The record album, the album art, the CD album art is so funny. It's him like looking all, it's kind of like skater boy vibe, like the shaggy long hair with like all the little pieces. And it kind of reminds me of like a tattoo parlor. It's like red and black and very like, I don't know. It feels like it should be like a patch on like a motorcyclist's leather jacket. Like it's just very like hardcore and edgy from the very smooth around the edges Ashley Parker Angel we got in O-Town. So let's do a little refresher on how Ashley ended up pursuing his solo career. So we were first introduced to it and sort of reintroduced to Ashley in January 2006 via his reality show on MTV, There and Back, Ashley Parker Angel. This was a reality TV series. It ran for only 10 weeks, but I feel like it was so much longer than that.
So it was only one season, right?
One season wonder, but it did the job because it showed us the behind the scenes of making this album. It was kind of like the Ashley Simpson show formula, right? When a record label has an artist that they're trying to push out there, they already have some notoriety. Their name is already out there, but they really need people to get to know them on a deeper level, build that favorability. They go to MTV and score a reality show. And I mean, Ashley was just the prime contender for this, right? Everyone knew him from O-Town. This is really only like 4 years after O-Town was like at their peak, but we couldn't feel further away from it, like culturally, I feel like.
Yeah, it was a big shift.
It was a huge shift. So we're really getting reintroduced to Ashley as an individual. We're seeing his efforts to launch the solo career while providing for his new growing family. He has to manage his career while also trying to provide for his fiance, Tiffany Lynn, and their new son, Lyric. And fun fact, I read that Lyric's birth was the first shown on MTV. Trailblazer.
Wow. And if my maths, Lyric has to almost be 20 years old.
That's scary. I'm like, oh, but I'm only 5 years older than I was.
Right. Right. So, yeah, we're basically the same age now. No, I thought his name was so cool, by the way, getting named Lyric. But I read an interview about how the show came to be, and it seemed like it was honestly kind of a make or break situation for Ashley at the time. He told Hip Online, quote, "Well, what happened with the show when I met with them, I wasn't pursuing TV. I had a record contract on the table and I hooked up with these producers. And the minute the budget came in, I had problems getting in advance. I told MTV that I had no place to live, no money, and my girlfriend was having a baby. And they asked how I'd feel if they followed me around with the camera." end quote. And there you have it.
Why not? Why not? Well, thanks to Ashley for being so selfless and letting us in on that. But yeah, the very first episode, we learned that life just has not been easy for Ashley since O Town. But again, just 4 years before, he was on top of the charts, on top of the world. Like, WTF happened? And hearing that he was broke, he's living with his pregnant girlfriend and her mother in a super small apartment, and they're holding his money back. I was like shocked. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe it. And we learned that his album producers are from Blackground, aka JoJo's label. So if you guys listen to our JoJo memoir, you know all about the background on Blackground.
Mm.
Well, in episode 1, which by the way, this show is so hard to find. We
Ugh.
combed the interwebs.
I would pay money for this show, and no one's offering it to me.
According to Google, it's on like TV Guide channel, but like I'm not like what? Why is TV Guide
Oh.
channel even a thing now? I'm so confused. But there's some very detailed episode descriptions on Wikipedia, and honestly, it like triggered my memory very deeply.
Oh, God.
I don't know why I remember so much from this era, but clearly all I did was watch MTV and like I
Mm.
had no time for anything else. So in this first episode, Ashley's manager is telling him basically that his songs are good, but they're not that great. And we see O Town member Jacob Underwood come
Ooh.
on the show. He comes on a few times, and we also get some appearances from Dan Miller. We also see him like going over baby names with Tiffany, and Ashley recalls how he was teased as a kid for his own name. And he's like, our baby will not have an awkward name. So I know you like lyrics name, Mary. And that's how it came to be. They want to buy this house, but they cannot come up with $8,000.
$8,000 for a down payment?
$8,000. And Blackground Records president Barry, again, we talked about him extensively in our JoJo's memoir episode. He takes Ashley sort of under his wing and gives him money for the house plus a little extra. So I wonder if that was sort of like hamming it up for the cameras. But yeah, like why is it so hard for him to come up with $8,000? What happened since O Town? Or were they also screwed by Luke
Mm.
Perlman, right? We know that they were a part of that deceit circle. Like,
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe that's why he was struggling so much.
I remembered he was struggling. I didn't remember to that extent. Ashley talked pretty extensively about Blackground in an interview, and I just found it so interesting just because of our recent JoJo episode. He said, quote, after spending a year recording with Soul Shock and Carlin, we organized several showcases in New York City. And although I received several offers from a few major labels, I decided to do a deal with Barry Hankerson at Blackground Records and Vincent Herbert from DeFamily Entertainment. I had met Barry and Vincent a few times through Soul and Carlin while they were working on JoJo's record in Los Angeles. I really hit it off with Barry, and I liked the fact that they had less acts and showed their artists more attention. I also felt that Barry and Vincent had an incredible ear for music, discovering such acts as Aaliyah, R. Kelly, Timbaland, and JoJo, and I loved the family vibe at Blackground Records, end quote. And like, that just really stuck out to me because of what JoJo said in her memoir. Like, I feel like her and her mom had such a similar vibe when they started out with Blackground, and, it felt like a family. She was going to get attention. They didn't have a ton of people on the label. Like, isn't that kind of crazy?
This is just like bananas. It literally feels like the same formula. And I feel like it was kind of like pulling the wool over their eyes a little bit. And poor Ashley, I mean, JoJo kind of went through this too, right? She was on top of the world. She made it
Yeah.
big so quickly in her career. Obviously, O Town had the support of making the band. They've always had sort of
Mm.
this notoriety and public familiarity, and they reached number one on the charts pretty quickly and early on in their career. So much like JoJo, Ashley is sort of struggling with selling out stadiums with O Town. And in one episode, he finds out that a show with other guys from other boy bands gets canceled, and he's just like crushed. And it's like,
Yeah.
wow, I'm really scraping the bottom of the barrel now, just trying to get a live gig when just 4 years ago, like one presidency earlier, like everything was different. So he tries to get a job in construction, and he's trying out all these other means. I don't know if this is just for the show, like for content, but now as an adult looking back on this, it's incredibly stressful that
Yeah.
there's a deadline looming. That baby is coming and he's trying to do what he can to get this
Yeah.
album in a good place and like get some money in the meantime. It's just really sad, but it ends and the last episode does give us a lot of hope. He gets a call from his manager. They say that his advance check has finally arrived, which again, I wonder, were they holding it back for like the entertainment value for the TV show? Like that just seems so cruel. If so, maybe that's just me being cynical because JoJo's book
Mm.
showed me the ugly underbelly of the
Yeah.
entertainment industry.
Yep.
But like Ashley's just excited that he can finally provide for his family. And while he's on his way to go pick up the check, the physical check, he receives a phone call telling him that his music is being played on the radio. So it seems like Ashley is on the up and up, like on his way back into the zeitgeist. So what did you think about this show, Mary? I find it very stressful looking back.
This show was like my life. This was my Super Bowl. I would never miss an episode and was just so invested, so locked in, so ready for APA's solo album. That's the nickname I've given Ashley Parker Angel. So in case I use it again, this is just, again, like you said, a great utilization of just like the Making the Band Ashley Simpson show formula. Get the viewers hyped for the album with the show. It's genius.
It is such a smart formula. I'm with you. MTV cracked the code, or the record labels cracked the code with MTV. So let's talk about the solo album, because at the end of this beautiful reality show, Rainbow, that's what we got. Obviously, this is Ashley's first and only studio album. It was released on May 16th, again through Black Rock Records, and the show ended in March. So I feel like they could have coordinated this release a little bit more. We did get the single like towards the end.
The finale should coincide with the release.
Right, you'd think that, but it was just like a single. And then I guess maybe they were hoping that they'd continue the momentum until the album release. I don't know. I feel like someone dropped the ball there. But the album did pretty well. You know, it debuted number 5 on the Billboard 200. It sold 72,000 copies in its first week.
It also went platinum in my household.
I mean, that is a big deal, you know? To be on Mary's platinum, to have one of those, I would love a framed platinum record that just says "in Mary's household."
Would be amazing.
And in 2021, we just got the album on streaming services, like for the first time. So very recent that you are able to open up your Spotify and take a listen to it. And we have to mention that this album was produced by Max Martin, Dr. Luke Gross, The Matrix, Alex Contral, and dynamic duo Soulshock and Carlin, who also did JoJo's Leave, Get Out. Speaking of my singing, let's do a little disclaimer that we do not own or claim to own the clips or performances in this episode. The purpose of them is for commentary and critique. And since this is a listening party, there will be a lot of that. So Mary, do you want to get us started?
Yeah, I'm too excited. I need to jump right into this first song, this first single. And honestly, I don't think it's one I'll ever be able to let go. And that's track 1, Let You Go. Oh my God, those intro drum beats. Let's freaking go. Let You with a U, Go, was released to radio as the lead single from the album on February 14th, 2006. And honestly, what a freaking Valentine's Day gift this song was. It debuted at number 17 on the Billboard Hot 100, eventually peaking at number 12. It was certified gold. And this track was written by Ashley, Max Martin, Dr. Luke, Yuck, and also produced by Max in Baltimore. And if you guys listen to any of our many Max Martin episodes, Max Martin is like a rock guy. His roots are in rock and roll, baby. So I wonder if getting to take this kind of rock pop journey with Ashley was like exciting and fun for him. Like this song is definitely more on the pop rock side of the spectrum, but pop is still very much present. Let's see. We get a key change in the final chorus.
I remember when you came with me that night. You said forever, you said forever, you said forever.
Super satisfying. And Ashley even talked about his experience working with Max in an interview. He said basically that it was a huge deal to work with someone as established as Max Martin. And he was just so appreciative how even with Max's own musical genius and experience, how he was very open and willing to hear Ashley out and hear his ideas and what direction he wanted to go creatively, which Ashley really seemed to be humbled by and appreciate. Chuck Taylor of Billboard referred to the song as a, quote, wheelie, squealing, pop rock headbanger, end quote, that fits well within the TRL template for up-tempo pubescent pop.
Pah!
And it popped, all right. The song popped. The song was literally the soundtrack to my life, pun intended. I know that's coming later, but when it came out, this was probably my favorite track on the album. I love the lyrics, the melody, how the chorus literally swelled with like guitars and drums, just like filling your Walkman headphones. I liked how the verses were kind of in Ashley's lower register, like broken promises.
Broken promises, but you don't really mind.
And then we get to like the punch that was the chorus, and he was singing a bit higher. I just liked kind of that vacillation in pitch, or I guess not pitch. What's that word?
Octave?
Sure, octave. That sounds right. I also love the line where he's like, it's you. There's nothing I can do.
It's you. There's nothing I can do.
And I used to think we'd always hear like, it's not you, it's me. But here, Ashley Parker Angel is like, no, it's you, bitch. And I just appreciated the honesty because that's what we're all thinking, right? Anyways,
I never picked up on that.
that's you. There's nothing I can do. There was a music video for this. It came out in March of 2006 and went pretty quickly to #1 on TRL after its release, which kind of makes sense because the music video actually debuted right around when the show wrapped up. So at least I got that timing one right.
Right. Like, I'm so glad. But oh my God, I love this song. It starts it off on the perfect note when he's like, goodbye. Oh my God. And then the drums are like, da, 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 da.
It's swelling. It's like
Swelling.
so good.
This song just like really gets my heartbeat up. And it was also like the perfect introduction to his new solo image. Like it was definitely edgier, definitely rockier. And we don't have any of the raunchiness that O-Town did.
No posters of love surrounding him.
Posters of love surrounding me.
It's so interesting. But yeah, I love his voice. He just sounds so good.
He has a really good voice. He always has. Like, that's nothing new on this album, but you just, are exposed to it more as a solo artist than when hearing him in a blend,
Totally. So shall we go on to song number 2?
You better.
I'm Better. That's the name of the song. Oh my God, I am _was_will always be obsessed with this song. It opens with this flirty little hey. And we get a guiro, which is that instrument that has like all the ribs on it and you like move a stick over it.
Yeah, I put maraca, but that's not what it was. But I was trying to articulate that sound.
I think that's what it is. I had to Google what I remember it looking like in music class in elementary school. But I'm pretty sure that's what that sound is. It's flirty and you just want to cha-cha to it. And it's super poppy. And then we get these slamming guitars in the chorus.
Just walk right in.
Again, so upbeat. This is just like the perfect song to headbang at a red light in the car. And this song, I hear so much of the Max influence, especially in the way that he enunciates his words. Ashley's like, girls, they don't know what they want, but you.
Girls, they don't know what they want, but you.
Yeah, yo. We get a lot of yo, which we are no stranger to because Backstreet Boys and NSYNC did the same exact thing in all of their Max Martin songs. And speaking of Backstreet Boys, I'm going to say something like really drastic. Do you know what artist I would love to hear sing this song?
Okay, you said speaking of Backstreet Boys, is it a Backstreet Boy?
Nick Carter.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to guess Nick because I could hear the rasp. I can hear the rasp on this.
I literally feel like Nick Carter would crush this song.
Whenever do.
Yes.
Oh, God.
And then, yeah.
I have
Hey,
chills.
like the flirty beginning. I just feel like Nick
Oh,
Carter
my
would crush
God.
this song.
I literally didn't even cheat and check. That's my only guess I had. We're going to send a note. He needs to cover this song. For us alone. No one else will know it, but we will know it.
But like, did you not remember all the, like listening to this? I knew every single word and I have not like listened to it literally since high school, I don't think.
Well, Kelsey, I've probably listened to this within the last 3 months. So
I like it just all came back and I was like, wow, how many times did I listen to this whole album? Like I must have had the physical CD.
This is one I'm willing to go to bat for. I completely agree. It's so unique. Talk about the Max influence. We get a key change in that final chorus. It's just so satisfying. Justice for this song, honestly, because it would have, could have, should have been the third single, in my opinion.
I so agree. This is my favorite song from the album.
Ooh, I mean, top 2 or 3 for me.
Top 2 or 3. I wonder if number 3 may also be in your top 2 or 3.
I think so.
And that is Soundtrack to Your Life.
Been there, back again. And when the music ends, your life is a flashback, a question, a photograph, a statement, a story, a struggle, a chance to laugh.
This was written by Ashley and The Matrix. I also love that he wrote like almost
Everything.
every single song on this album, which is very cool. So this was the follow-up single and the theme song to his reality show. And the song was produced by The Matrix. We know them because they produced songs for Britney Spears, Avril Lavigne, Hilary Duff. And in the TV show, we only get like the chorus. So it was still like kind of a treat when this came out as a single. And I thought it was interesting that even though it was the title track to the TV show, it wasn't the first single.
I mean, just like Autobiography was the first single and it was the theme song to the show.
Right.
Like it just like makes sense. So I'm confused by that one as well.
Like imagine if they released Soundtrack to Your Life while the show was airing and going on. And then we got the second single and the album.
It would have been.
I don't know. Like, who knows? I am not a music executive, but I am in PR. And I
think
have
that's
to say,
marketing, right?
timeliness is very important.
No kidding.
So, Soundtrack to Your Life, I think in the show, we learn that this song is a message to Lyric, Ashley's son. The lyrics are about life. I love how they say, because if you don't laugh, you cry, a last crescendo when you die. I mean, if you don't laugh, you cry. If that isn't being a teenager in a nutshell, it's just two extremes. There's no in between. You're either laughing or you're crying.
It's actually pretty solid advice from APA, early reflection, you know, pick one or the other, and one's obviously better than the other.
I love it. This one didn't do as hot on the Billboard Hot 100. It peaked at number 58. In terms of the style of this song, I mentioned, you know, for the last song, we hear that Max Martin influence, but in this one, he sings like a British rock star, like an Oasis. It's like he's almost singing with like an accent the whole time.
I get what you're saying. I hear you. That I never even thought of that.
I wonder if that was one of his, you know, muses or influences for the album. Obviously, he's going more in this rock direction. I can only imagine that Max Martin was listening to a bunch of like Oasis stuff, like in the listening booth, like for inspo for the album, like vibe. He just, the way he enunciates his words is so funny to me.
My favorite part is that final pre-chorus bridge. The angsty preteen in me loved screaming that with my friends in the car where he's like, beat up, broken, back for more. I'll be dragging my own ass off the floor.
Beat up, broken, back for more. I'll be dragging my own ass off the floor.
I remember being like, yeah, me too. Like, life's so hard. And it really wasn't. But I thought this was such a cool song. Well, number 4 is another song that I love that I feel I'm willing to go to bat for. And that is Feel So Alive.
Everything is changing, life is rearranging, but I feel so alive, so alive.
This one is written by Ashley and Wally Gaggle. I love that name, Wally Gaggle. So Feel So Alive to me is just upbeat, optimistic, and even though things are changing, he is feeling good, he's feeling alive. And I love that we get some whoa-ohs interspersed in there. Love that. And he says something like, no, I'll never be what you expect, but I'm not sorry.
No, I'll never be what you expect. I'm not sorry.
And even though that's not a Max Martin song, I just still get that Max Martin influence kind of peeking through on some of these inflections and pronunciations.
That's like the Oasis stuff that I'm talking about. Like the British rock band. Like, no way. Sorry. I don't know.
Another lyric, for every moment I'm making a mistake, I'll bend, but I won't break.
For every moment that I'm making a mistake, I'll bend, but I won't break.
It's just like a cute, upbeat, positive, keep on keeping on bop. Like, I love this song. And it just seems like it's all about self-acceptance, self-love, regardless of all the bumps in the road and this little thing that we called life.
The line, got no way of knowing exactly where I'm going, but I feel so alive.
Got a way of knowing exactly where I'm going, but I feel so alive.
That was me getting my license at 16 and relying on MapQuest printouts. Remember how you used to have to print out MapQuest directions?
Yes, my mom would be like, don't look at MapQuest. You should be looking at the road. And I'm like, but then how am I supposed to get there?
Right. How do I know where to go? How do I know which stop sign to turn right at?
So that's why you had to have a co-pilot.
Well,
right?
I don't know what the laws were when you grew up, but when you turn 16 in Connecticut, you cannot have a passenger in the car with you for like the first 6 months. Unless it's like another licensed driver. So it was very
difficult times.
Yeah. It was very polarizing. I got in trouble a couple times for not following that rule.
Kelsey, were you a little bad?
No.
No.
That was like the extent of how I broke the rules. And my friend's dad, like, he didn't even yell at us. He was just like, you guys know you're not supposed to do that. And I almost like peed my pants and cried. I was like, you're so right.
I had a feeling that probably that would have hit hard for you. Yes.
He just made eye contact and I like crumbled.
Oh. That's so cute.
Well, is it? I don't know.
No, it is. It is. You were a good kid. But okay, we're on track 5 and I'm 5 for 5. I'm loving 5 for 5 of these so far. And this one is Crazy Beautiful.
Suitcase of baggage in a head, she screams out, yes, and it's crazy beautiful.
And it's written by Ashley and The Matrix again. And I found in a little interview, Ashley said that The Matrix really understood what he wanted to accomplish as an artist with this album. Obviously, totally differentiating himself from O-Town and the boy band Orb. Boy band, you know, what's it called? Help. The boy band. Scene, yes. And they spent a really long time with him just like honing in on like the specific sound that he was looking for. So he seemed really appreciative of that. I like this song. It's a little darker and heavier, I think, than the first couple. If I remember correctly, him and Tiffany, his baby mama, had kind of a bit of a tumultuous relationship, it seemed, at least on the show. But I feel like this song kind of reflected the ups and downs. And despite all those ups and downs, as he says in the song, she is worth it all. We get a lyric, knew you were trouble back then, but that's what turned me on. It's all wrong.
Knew you were trouble back then, but that's what turned me on. It's all wrong.
Okay, this is not a good sign, people. We run from trouble. We don't run towards trouble. And he knows. He said it's all wrong. Another lyric I liked, he goes, she's like a song that's in my brain, but every other lyric says my name, but I just can't turn it off.
She's like a song that's in my brain, but every other lyric says my name, and I just can't turn it off.
I thought it was a good representation of how it feels being sucked into this kind of relationship. It's like hard to walk away from something like that. But there was a lyric about someone slamming her fist into a wall. And I remember wondering if it was Tiffany or just little innocent Mary being like, oh no.
Hopefully it was just like metaphorical, you know?
Yes, yes. I just remember being like, oh my God, they're fighting. But regardless, I really liked this song.
I do remember being very confused by their relationship on the show. Like there's just a lot of tension. And I remember her mom being also heavily involved. And I feel like I remember one of the episodes showed him writing this song. And it just kind of made me all a little uncomfy. I don't like when people are fighting. Like this was pre my Real Housewives obsession. So like back then I was like, oh my God, can't everyone get along? And like they have a baby on the way. And this song was like an apology, like makeup song.
I don't remember a lot from that show, but like one thing I remember for certain is they fought a lot. So if that tells you anything.
I remember they fought a lot and she's so pretty. I was like so jealous of her.
So jealous and annoyed. I was so annoyed by it. But honestly, who cares?
Who cares? What a great segue into track 6. And you guess it. It's called Who Cares?
She's sitting on the stairs, ribbons in her hair, waiting for someone. Who cares?
Another one that Ashley co-wrote. And I don't know if I ever listened to this by choice a lot growing up, because I feel like the first 5 songs I always listened to. I knew every word to. And then 6 and on, you know, sometimes I'd let the CD keep spinning, you know, like if I was sort of distracted, but the vibes come down a notch. We don't get as many of those like heavy guitar riffs. Things slow down a little bit. This song in particular has a totally different vibe to it than the first 5 tracks. It is giving Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds vibes.
Everyone smiles as you drift past the flowers that grow so incredibly high.
Mary, I know you're not a Beatles fan.
No.
But this like psychedelic echoey effect, which is also used in some of the other tracks also, like later in the album. It's just really unique. And again, I feel like that's where this like British rock band inspiration may be coming from. I also thought the ending was very unique, if not grating, in that it just like keeps going forever. And you're like, is this song over? No, oh my God, there's still 10 seconds left. But you know, I feel like this song kind of showed his experimental side.
You make the comment about the ending of the song. The intro was just so long. You guys, I have a short attention span. Remember the Max Formula recipe for success. He hits you quick and fast with a recognizable intro and moves right along. This lost me right in the beginning back then. The same in my re-listen, you know, this week. You know, it's fine. It's just not one I would seek out. But that's all I really got to say. And I can't come up with a creative pivot for the next one, track 7. So we will not be creative. Track 7 is Shades of Blue.
With eyes wide open, the sky is always 1,000 shades of blue.
Which is written by Ashley and Shulshock and Carlin. And this one is usually just an automatic skip for me, so I was excited to revisit kind of with a fresh set of ears. However, upon revisiting, I remained unimpressed and uninspired by this track. At first, I wondered if it was like kind of autobiographical for Ashley. Like it's talking about like being noticed in a crowd and like finding your own place. I wondered if it was something about what he was going through, trying to find his footing as a solo artist, but then further into my analysis, the song got a whole lot darker. Here's a lyric. He let the water run too deep, then he just slowly slipped on in. And when he finds the nerve to breathe, all they say is no one saw it coming. Hear the sirens, the cops arriving, 1,000 shades of blue. But it's hopeless, no one noticed, we're all just shades of you. With eyes wide open, they found him floating, 1,000 shades of blue. There's no escaping where he's going, we're all just shades of you. And I'm like,
Yikes.
I know, and I'm not going to play that whole clip because it's long as hell, but it's kind of a dark, scary, vivid description of an event, and I'm wondering kind of what happened here, but
I don't love this song. It's definitely
I know.
a skipper for me. It's like sad and melancholy, and like
Yeah.
the guitar feels very heavy, and like it wasn't for me.
No, I agree.
It was a far cry from the beginning of I'm Better with the little flirty, hey.
Hey,
I do like the next track though, number 8, It's Beautiful Lie.
and knowing that you break me if you ever say goodbye. So you keep on telling me that everything will be alright, and it's a beautiful lie.
I feel like it's a pretty one. I will say though that upon re-listening, the opening chords sounded just like a John Mayer song to me. New Deep, do you get that too? It's like a simple little guitar riff, but
Oh,
I was like, wow, this could definitely be a John Mayer
yes.
song.
Okay, I hear the comparison, and I also really like this song and had kind of forgotten about it. For me, it's like that type of relationship in which like one person is staying in it to protect the other, but they're like over it and they don't know how to like let the other person down and say like, I'm done. There's a lyric, well, I can't help but to notice in the bedroom something's changed. There's a picture on the dresser that's gone missing from the frame. I could ask you, but you'd answer in the same familiar way that there's nothing wrong and everything's okay.
I could ask you, but you'd answer in that same familiar way that there's nothing wrong and everything's okay.
And according to Ashley, that is a beautiful lie. Saying everything is fine when everybody knows it's not. I don't know. The chorus slaps. It hits. I like it.
I agree. It's one of those songs that it's a painful subject matter and it's a
Yeah.
sad subject matter, but it's a more upbeat song so you can like jam out to it.
And this next one is also kind of jammy. And I'm kind of happy that we're picking it back up a couple with some of these tracks. And it's Perfect Now.
Look who's perfect now. Got my head in the clouds. Look who's perfect now. Got my feet on the ground.
That was written by Ashley and Soul Shock and Carlin. I love this song. Kind of like a fuck you to the haters. Like, here's a lyric. Hey you, miss head of the class, never come last. Pain in the ass.
Hey, you miss head of the class. Never come last. Pain in the ass.
It's just kind of tongue in cheek. He's like, look at me now. Like, look who's perfect now. But just a reminder, Hannah Montana taught us that nobody is perfect. So just reminder, Ashley, I'm very interested in like, it seems like to me at least he's singing at a woman in this song, like a female rival, an ex-lover, like a record executive that told him he'd never make it. Like, I just am very curious what the inspiration is. He says, got my head in the clouds, feet on the ground.
Got my head in the clouds. Got my feet on the ground.
Like, I'm following my dreams and crushing it and stable AF, and like that pre-chorus bridge where it's him just going like, la, 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 la. Just sounds like airy, head in the clouds. Like, literally, I can hear it.
I love the bridge. Now I see.
Now I see, now I found, now I know what you're about. I keep trying to reach, won't let you pull me down.
It reminds me of like 90s Third Eye Blind vibes.
It's a good one. It's like a forgotten bop.
It is a total bop, and I like that it's kinda nestled in the back half of the album because we needed something to kinda, like, pick up the vibe a little bit.
We
There's
did.
so many, like, piano-heavy
Oh,
ballads and stuff, so this kinda, like, brought me back into it. I love how they layer his vocals in all of these songs and, like, all the self-harmonizations. It just adds another layer to it, and some of the choruses, like, it doesn't sound like a solo artist. It sounds like a band.
a band of Ashleys.
Yes, a band of Ashleys. I love it. So the next song is Where Did You Go?
Oh, oh, where'd you go? I thought you'd never leave. Oh, oh, should've known how much you mean to me.
And this one is not my favorite, speaking of piano heavy songs, but I think it's really pretty. And I really love the harmonies in the chorus. Again, the layered vocals, it just like scratches my brain in a very satisfying way.
This one is a tough start for me. It has a 30-second piano intro. Like, why is that ever a good idea?
It's not.
It's not. I literally looked at my phone today. Like, I was like, the intro's still going, kind of like you were like, the song hasn't ended yet. But I don't mind this song. It's just kind of a moody and mellower vibe. And I'm very picky and choosy with my moody, mellow vibe songs. And I just don't know if it would make my list.
I get it. It's not that substantive, but I like the oh.
Yeah.
Oh, oh.
It's just really pretty and
It is.
wispy, and I feel like it would do really well in like a movie scene or something, like in the background of something like dramatic.
Yeah, I could totally
It's
see
good
that.
like background music.
Yeah, like white noise kind of. Right? No, okay.
Sad white noise.
Sad white sad white noise.
If you're feeling like extra moody and like angsty and you're on a walk, it's fall, it's kind of gloomy
Yeah,
out. Listen to this and
perfect.
walk around and maybe you'll start crying and feel better after.
Yeah, that's more often than not a skip for me, but I appreciate the direction it was going. But track 11, Along the Way,
Along the way, that's where I'm supposed to be. Along the way, in the spaces in between.
this one was written by Ash and Ash and Shulshock and Carlin and Lindy Robbins. And this, again, was another immediate skipper for me back in the day. I was optimistic when revisiting, but the intro didn't grab me. It's just kind of like a weird, slow, and long song. I'm still kind of meh about it and don't entirely understand it.
I kind of feel like the second half of this album just has like an identity crisis. Like it starts out like fun and with these fun guitar riffs, and it's like, yo. And then all of a sudden it turns into like really sad.
But I appreciate it. I feel like you can mix in like the darker, like heavier subject matter, like, Beautiful Lie, Perfect Now, like Crazy Beautiful. It's like less upbeat, I'd say. But the last one I liked, but a lot of these I didn't like.
For Along the Way specifically, I just felt like it was so similar to the other songs. Like,
Yeah.
again, it opens up with a ballady piano. Like, I just don't know that we needed it, especially not like back to back.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was angsty. I wanted a guitar riff to like sink my teeth into.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
So you mentioned you really liked the last song, Apology.
What went wrong with you and me? This is my apology. 'Cause even when I fall asleep, you stay with me.
This was written, like, obviously all of them were written by Ashley. Again, this is like a really pretty piano ballad. It wasn't for me. So I'd love to hear what you loved about it, Mary.
If I remember correctly, them working on this song was featured a ton on the show. And it was obviously written for Tiffany at the time. I just thought it was a good ballad, a catchy ballad, unlike some of the other ones on this track. And I was really, impressed with his creative involvement in it. There's a beautiful buildup on the piano and that final pre-chorus bridge that like comes to a crescendo.
Every letter that you wrote, it stays with me. Every promise
and then it goes back to like delicate light piano.
Stays with me.
It's just a gorgeous juxtaposition, and you can really feel and hear his emotions in this. It just sounds genuine, it sounds good, it sounds raw. I was just blown away by this song as like a boy band or ballad.
Can't
To each their
argue with
own.
that.
To each their own.
I like it. I think by this time I was just like so sick of a piano.
I understand.
But I do feel like I remember like falling asleep to this album and like waking up when this song would be like ending.
Ding,
And like
ding,
my headphones
ding.
would be like hurting in my ears.
Yes.
Well, that is the album. So what happened after? Well, Ashley never came out with a follow-up album. And ironically, after, pursuing the solo career, he was the only member who declined to go on a reunion tour with O-Town when they got back together in 2011. Ashley released a statement to TMZ that he would not be reuniting with the band. And obviously people were pissed. This is what he had to say about it, though. Quote, O-Town was one of the greatest chapters of my life, so when the idea of a reunion was brought to me, of course I was intrigued. However, I have made the decision not to be a part of an O-Town reunion. It was a difficult decision, but ultimately necessary to move on with the next chapter of my career. Well,
It's a
go ahead.
It's a hard pill to swallow. I'm sure, that is a delicate dance and situation.
Yeah, and I feel like we talked about this in our O-Town episode. Ashley was really moving in the direction of Broadway at the time.
Mhm.
He was in a bunch of different productions starting since like 2007. So it seems like he came out with this album and then sort of like immediately pivoted to
Yeah.
The Great White Way. And I mean, who can blame him as a musical theater girly myself? But it was really upsetting that, he's the one who continued the music torch and then wouldn't go back with O-Town.
Like, just go back. Just like a date or two,
Give
You
us
don't have to-
one summer.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be fun. They have fun. They have fun.
We're fun. We're fun fans. Like everything would be so fun. Well, what's Ashley doing now? He's a fitness model on Instagram and he posts nearly NSFW, not suitable for work photos. I don't know how low this man's waistband can go without getting reported, but he's going to push the limits. So watch at your own risk. But he looks great.
Yes. We hope he is happy and thriving and doing well.
We wish the best for Ashley and Little Lyric and Tiffany and her mom, wherever they are. We wish everyone well.
Yeah,
and we hope that you guys love this journey down memory lane. Definitely check out our Instagram at When They Popped Pod. We'll be posting fun clips that we could find of the show.
He's got to have a couple live performances on YouTube, right? Like of Let You Go or something.
And TRL.
Yeah, he has to.
I'll find something.
He better.
I'll scrape the interwebs.
Frickin' better.
Send us any episode ideas, any songs, albums, TV shows, movies, other general Y2K memories you want to talk about. And make sure to rate us 5 stars wherever you get your pods and leave a review.
Because we'll read it on the episode and thank you personally.
And maybe we'll send you a t-shirt.
Maybe we will.
And with that, a good night.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.